use one of the live streaming softwares that enable me to stream it simultaneously to a couple of different sites. We'll see about that. Right now, I've just noticed a growth in what it is that we're doing here, and I like that. I want to make sure that's integrated. Share and comments. Great. So, this is one of those touchstones for my week where I know that every week I'm going to be talking to you, and that Tananarive and I are going to have a chance to do our things in a slightly different way than we can when we're doing specific work. Hello, sweetheart. There's my baby girl. There she is. Oh, what a pretty baby. Look at her. Look at
Dang.
her.
Like, I'm gonna spotlight you and I'm gonna add me to my oh wait, and I'm gonna add a spotlight. Is that how everybody sees us? I forget.
Well, I think if you spotlight, yeah, yeah,
I was only
it's
okay, yes. Hey
that's
everybody.
about right. Boy, so this is great, and it's always such an honor to talk to people who've taken time out from their very, very busy days to be with us. I understand perfectly well that it suggests a lot of trust, that you're busy people, and that you're investing this time with us, and it's just as important. In some ways, it's more important than if you paid to do this. When it's a paid workshop, it's always a little bit more of a hierarchical thing where we're sitting at the top and we're giving. Here, what we're trying to do is create more of a circle. And even though we are facilitating this and leading this, you get to determine what we talk about to a degree if you ask the right questions. Anyway, it's 12 o'clock. It's time to get started so everybody can quit on time. Welcome to Firedance. My name is Stephen Barnes. I'm the creator of the technology. I'm also a novelist and screenwriter and martial artist and most important husband and father. And this is my beautiful lady wife,
Hello.
the
It's
the
Tanana
one and
Reed.
only singular Tanana Reeve Do. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm good. I didn't mean to spotlight myself at the top of the show. I thought the show was already underway. But
Well,
since I'm here,
absolutely.
hello.
So,
Those of you who are on my newsletter have already heard about my stressful 10 days that ended with returning to California. By the way, to a heat wave, which I left that part out because it was cooler when I left. I was expecting it to be cool, and instead it's way hotter. And then the morning after I returned, I had to go to jury duty, and then I spent an hour in the bank, needlessly, really. And how I managed to shake it all off. I was in a very positive attitude. You can attest to that, right, honey? It was
yes.
almost weirdly positive.
It
And I
was
think
very
it,
strange. Not only it wasn't just that your attitude was positive, it's that you had too much energy. I mean, it's like you just weren't tired. The time zone shift just didn't hit you. I was like, what is going on? You were just going. You were the Energizer Bunny, and
I was.
you never did. You never did crash. You started taking a little bit more rest time, but it
Right.
never
Well,
caught up with you in a negative way. I'm impressed, honey.
the crash was on the other end. I was jet lagged for 2 days after I got there, pretty much napping with my dad is how that worked for the first couple days. And then I think I was just so happy to be home. And that speaks to the gratitude piece. I really was so happy to be home that it didn't matter I had to get up at 8:30 the very next day to go to jury duty. It didn't matter that I was gonna have to go to the bank in person instead of having to do something on the phone the way I wanted to. And it took an hour to do that, waiting for someone to wait on me. Um, I did my thing. I sketched out some stuff for my book. At jury duty, I was taking it all in case I ever wanted to write about a character who was on jury duty. So I just wanted to say hi to everyone. We're still adjusting to the new day, meeting on Fridays instead of Saturdays. And like Steve said, we know you're busy and have places to be. In some cases, literally work. So We truly appreciate your presence here. And on that note, that's all, folks. Take it away, Steve. Oh, wrong way.
Okay.
Take it away,
So
Steve.
we decided to kind of, do something that's a little bit closer to what we do in the Life Writing podcast, which is to start with asking, what's going on. So Tananari was just mentioning that, and she may pick up for that. Before I get into what's going on, however, what I would like to do is for you guys to unmute yourselves and say hi to each other. Just kind of say hi, just kind of get the energy up a little
Hey,
bit. Just it's like,
everybody.
Hi, hi,
It's good to see
Maddie.
all the regulars and all the
Greetings from home with the new
Hello.
one.
there you go. That's it. That's it. All right. So let's see. I'm going to spotlight for everybody. What have I been doing over the last week? I've noticed that I'm stalled out just a little bit on the project I'm working on with Larry Niven. I did a lot of work to get it ready, and now it's almost finished, but I have to get in there and do work on the final 50 pages, let's say. Basically print them out and go over them with a pen, which is relatively easy. So I will use Voice Dream or some other text to speech synthesizer, possibly with Snoop Dogg or Barack Obama's voice, and listen to the text and make corrections on paper while I do that. It's a relatively effortless way
I
to
suggest Michael's voice. Michael has a
okay.
voice named Michael. I suggest him for sure.
And which program is that?
Speechify.
Speechify. Okay,
He's
good.
very good.
Speechify is it's a good program. I'll probably do that. Thank you very much, sweetheart. Also, I've been experimenting with making sure to do yoga more often. I think I've reached the point in my life where I really do need to do it every day. That doesn't mean that I will be able to do it every day, but it means that I'm going to aim at that because I need to depressurize my body. One of the things about exercising is that when you select for performance, when you do things that are performance oriented, you will sometimes sacrifice your health. You move yourself out of alignment. If you're lifting weights, you have to strain and stress and girdle yourself by locking muscles in place. And if there's any imbalances at all, the lifting the weight will actually reinforce that imbalance that you then take out into your life. Now, that's one thing if you're lifting a car up off your kid. It's another thing if you're simply trying to move through life. So what yoga does is it sort of returns your skeletal structure and your joints and tendons and so forth to the original manufacturer specifications before you did, martial arts or weight training or any other crazy stuff that I do. So I need to do that. In terms of emotions, I actually wrote about something that was kind of interesting. I've noticed that anytime Jason steps up, and he's making massive progress in some beautiful ways right now. There's a little part of me that evidently thinks, well, we're done with that. What's next? I don't have to worry about that anymore. Then if he has just a little brain fart, that part of me changes its tune. I can hear that voice go to, see, nothing ever really changes. Why are you even bothering? And damn that ugly little part. What's necessary is to see the roller coaster that life is, to observe it rather than just going along for the ride. Worse still, if you're on the ride, but you're hallucinating that it's actually reality, that there's some disastrous happenstance coming. I mean, what is the real world equivalent of a roller coaster? Is it a car out of control careening down a mountain road? If you're on a roller coaster and you're treating it as if you're about to die at any moment, those alarms go off in your head. You're forgetting that this is just entertainment. You're just having fun.
Isn't that why, I hate to interrupt again, honey. Isn't
No, no,
that why,
please.
even if we loved roller coasters when we were kids, as adults, we love them less because once you understand that death is real, once you've actually experienced loss, once your bones are a little creaky, there's nothing fun about being rattled, oh my God, to what feels like your death. I just don't get it anymore.
I think that that's part of it. I really do think it is. I mean, there may be some literal things with our balance isn't as good. So something that is designed to be entertaining to a teenager is not as entertaining in your 20s and 30s and 40s and thereafter. Perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen any reports on it, but it would be a reasonable hypothesis. Observing that you're in the roller coaster is your first step, not being attached to it. Then being able to have faith that all is well enough to actually enjoy the entertainment. But if you've ridden the same roller coaster dozens of times, you know where the curves are, you know where this is, you know where that is, and it's not even exciting anymore beyond a certain point, but you can kind of pretend to be excited. After all, I said to myself, what I wanted was an authentic experience of life. I did not ask for an easy life. I asked to be strong enough to enjoy and thrive with an authentic experience. For me, that included fatherhood of a girl and then a boy. And that's kind of the full circle of life. This is my life, and I chose it with my eyes open. So I'm going to enjoy the ride. Doesn't last all that long. But so yesterday, I was up and down, and I noticed that I was, having some problems dealing with that. And, Tananarive and Jason are familiar enough with me to know that my moods don't necessarily mean anything. I'll get over it, and I always do. But it was very useful. But this kind of ties in with something else that I wanted to talk about, that was important because I guess I want to obscure this because other people are involved. So I was in a coaching situation once upon a time. I was talking to a team about a postponed growth opportunity. For months, I'd suggested they get their hands on a specific book. It's available dead cheap or free, as a book, ebook, or audio. You get lots of different ways. You get it down. You could download it within an hour. And for months, they had not obtained it, let alone read it. Looking at the magic formula, if you remember that the magic formula, let me get that up here. Choose a virtual background. I can do this. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. All right. So the magic formula is my acronym for the best way of looking at the process of mastery or success that I know, MAGIC. And a lot of what we're doing here is connected to this. M is map or model. You need to have or mentor. You must have a pattern that you're going through. If you're a writer, for instance, the pattern might be just knowing that a story is somebody who wants something's in their way, and they take efforts to try to deal with it. That's probably the simplest story pattern that I know. They're very complicated ones. I like the hero's journey more than anything else, but those are all maps. A is for action. You have to be taking constant action. Constant action. A is for action. Every day you need to be taking a step towards the thing that you want to achieve. G is for gratitude. Now, feeling gratitude is the antidote for fear and anger and shame and stress. If you can focus on gratitude, you can't simultaneously be afraid. Okay? You can't simultaneously be resentful. I used to do this when I was changing diapers. Diapers are a mess. Who likes changing diapers? Except I made myself like them because I was grateful that my child's body was healthy. A healthy baby produces poop. Would I be happier if he didn't produce poop? No, we'd be going to the doctor. So messy diapers are the price we pay for healthy babies. Just like cleaning the cat box is the price you pay for kittens. It's simple. You decide to have kittens, you're going to clean cat boxes. You're going to decide to have kids, you're going to change their diapers. If you can find the work in life is non-negotiable. But if you can find a way to be grateful for the capacity to do the work or the opportunity to do the work, if you could just find something to be grateful about, if you have a lot of taxes, that means you made a lot of money. If you could be grateful for that and get the joke, it changes the complexion of everything. So map, action, gratitude. The I is intention, goal, clear goals. You need to have a clear goal. You get in your car and you want to get to Disneyland. You know exactly how to set up your resources to get there. It's going to take you this many hours or days. You're going to need this much gas. You're going to need to stop at at a motel. You're going to need this, you're going to need that. You put together your resources, you set out on the road, you keep checking your map. But what's important is that you knew where you were going. So you want to finish a story or a book, you know, I want to write this story. I want to write a story a week or a story a month, or I want to finish this book by my next birthday, or whatever it is you got. You have to have an intention. Otherwise, you will drive your car in a circle until it runs out of gas. And so many people do that. And then they say, well, I guess I just didn't have the talent. No, no, you could have done it. You didn't have the right map, and you weren't taking action, and you didn't protect your emotions, and you didn't have a clear view of where you were going. And the C is actually several different things, but the closest I can come is core. Does your goal and do the actions necessary to reach your goal relate to your core being, your character, the center of your existence? If you do that, then every day is a blessing. I get to do this thing that is close to my core. Every day I get to write. I get to do this thing that I when I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer, and everybody told me that I couldn't. And everything that I did was about proving them wrong, or dealing with my fear, or working, or trying to find some way to make it happen. And if I ever get dissatisfied now that my career hasn't gone as far as I wanted, or I'm not making money at the pattern that I want, or I get a bad review, do I remember that I chose this? Do I remember that my life today is the dream of who I was yesterday? Do I get that? Do I remember that? If my actions as a parent, as a husband, as a writer, as a martial artist relate to the real me, the core being, then the external circumstances, first of all, don't matter that much, how much I get rewarded or not, because I'm getting to be me. But secondly, I'm going to get the best rewards possible, because all I have to offer the world as an artist is my authentic being filtered through my skill. That's all I've got, my unique perception. What do I really think and feel? So that's MAGIC. So let me go back to this conference that I had with this company. So for months they'd not obtained this book, let alone read it. Looking at the magic formula, what immediately came to mind is that they had no map of action. This zeroed out all of their efforts, because that's the thing. If you give yourself a score from 0 to 9 or 0 to 10 in each of these categories, if even one of those categories is a 0, the entire equation zeroes out. If you have no map, if you're taking no action, if you're letting your negative emotions swamp you, if you have no goal, and if what you're doing is not in line, you're not in integrity with your own heart and soul, you're a loser. That's a 0 day. If you can get just a little bit of each of these, you've at least got a 1, and now you're in the game. So that's what I'm begging you to take a look at your map of action. Are you taking action? Are you every day feeling gratitude to be alive? Because gratitude, with gratitude will give you faith. Is your goal clear? And are you asking yourself, who am I? Such that these actions, this goal, are absolutely, I would be happy to die doing this. You know, I've got to die one day, so I want to die doing the things I want to do, being the person I was born to be. And let me tell you something. Abusers, oppressors, colonizers, gaslighters, all of them are terrified that you will wake up and realize who you are. All of them. There are similar damages done to the human psyche by all these things, including being neuroatypical. That if you can't fit into that, be like everybody else thing, nobody's really like everybody else, but some people can fake it better than others. That's all that there is. Everybody feels alone and afraid. Everybody. Some people can just fake it. That's the big secret. Okay, so what I looked at was that one of these three people who were in charge of this company, was pretty much stuck in their ways. They've been very successful at doing other things, no, make no mistake, and really cannot learn a new way of thinking. That's okay. That just happens to everybody at times to different degrees. The second person said they needed a very specific chunk of time, 4 to 5 hours, to focus if it was nonfiction. And they had trouble creating this block of time. I asked if they were willing to change, and they said no. Huh, interesting. The third person said they were willing to do the work, but I noticed that over a period of 4 months, they hadn't taken that critical first step. That meant that either they didn't believe it would increase pleasure and decrease pain, because all animals will try to move away from pain toward pleasure. In that sense, we talk about how the meaning of life is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service. You can find anybody along that continuum, and anytime someone can see, if you believe an action will diminish your pain and increase pleasure, you pretty much have to take that action. It's not absolutely true, but it's a damn fine starting place. It has nothing to do with culture or psychology. It's universal throughout the animal kingdom. So, what was the problem? This is where the magic formula really shines. What it asks you to do is, first of all, integrate those 5 steps so that you understand them inside out, upside down, unconscious competence. Then you find another model, something that is specific to the thing that you want to do. You could just use the magic formula and you'll start getting lots of results. But if, say, you want money or to build a career, then the model presented by the 13 steps of Think and Grow Rich, for instance, are dynamite. I mean, it's like, wow. So let me go back to that, choose that virtual background again, so that you can see, well, I don't want to call it the joke, but it kind of was. It's an ugly joke. It's kind of joke that stops you from really living a good life. But once again, it's like it's like the roller coaster. At some point, it's a good idea to kind of laugh at it. Okay. Imagine that you have, I need to give you a metaphor or analogy. Imagine that you have no water coming out of your kitchen tap. You call a plumber. The first thing the plumber will do is check the tap. Okay, turn on, okay, no water, you're right. Then they go out to the street and check the main line. Is there water pressure at the main line? Okay. Now go to the side of the house. Is there water pressure there? Then the pipe between the curb and the house is okay. Now you go into the basement and check the pipes. You getting water there? Okay. You keep incrementally checking until you find the obstruction. Great. Maybe it's where the pipe curves up under the kitchen. That's where the block is. So you turn the water off at the curb or the side of the house, open the pipe, clear the obstruction. Bob's your uncle. You got water coming out of the kitchen tap. To the degree that the dynamic model of a process is accurate, this is all it takes. Once you have the basic system set up, in fact, this is one of the values of having small daily goals as well as long-term goals. You'll miss a lot of them. You'll fail at a lot of them. But if you have a way of examining the process one step at a time, you could use small daily tasks to kind of clear the obstructions or fix the pipes. It's like, okay, did I have a goal of fixing my bed? Of cleaning, making up my bed before I leave my bedroom. I didn't do it. Why not? I let myself get distracted. Remember that an awful lot of what you're going to accomplish in life is based on whether or not you can keep your word to yourself. So setting any kind of goal, if you do it, will teach you about yourself and also strengthen the same muscles you will use for every other goal. So like I said, the second model I chose after Magic Formulas, Think and Grow Rich, was 13 steps to success. Arguably the single best study in producing wealth ever created, if you can define that wealth in a quantifiable fashion. The first step you'll notice is desire. Desire, that's step number 1. You have to want something. And ideally, you have to want it bad. I mean, you really have to want it. The second step, and by the way, if you've lost touch with what it feels like to really want something, try holding your breath. Hold your breath until the carbon dioxide in your blood system starts setting off the alarms. How much did you want that next breath? That's how much you have to want something to change your life. Okay? Try to hold your breath for 2 minutes and you'll get it. You'll get it really fast. You can reconnect with your enormous innate drive to achieve and to survive, because it's the survival drive in the body. If you don't have that, then the work is clear. Okay, I need to get back in touch with that. If you don't love yourself enough to be able to fight for your own survival or the survival of your dreams as much as you would fight for the life of a helpless child in your care. See, almost all of us, if we're fighting for somebody else, someone who's helpless, someone who needs us, we go feral. We go full mommy tiger, daddy tiger. Don't touch my baby. If you don't have that for yourself, your dreams, someone hurt you. That you are checking what is referred to in internet marketing, not that I studied internet marketing, as an audible, where you're tapping the pipes to see where the obstruction is. If you don't have that love for yourself and your dreams, and you know where there is work to be done. Okay. So did number three, if he had the desire to succeed, okay, he did. He was able to answer congruently with sufficient enthusiasm. I could see it in his face, his eyes, his voice. Yeah, he wanted to succeed. But did they have faith that they could succeed? Did they believe that they could succeed? Instantly, their body language, voice, and posture changed, became negative, imploded, almost depressive. It was striking. No, they had no faith. If you start with the notion that anyone who can walk, talk, or read or write once had faith in themselves, they believed that they could do it. Otherwise, they would have stopped trying. They didn't really question their ability to succeed. They tried and tried and tried until it worked. But somewhere along the way, so much pain got associated with the process that they stopped having faith in themselves. They stopped believing in themselves. They moved in a smaller world and didn't try the thing that would break them out. Why should they? It's just more pain, right? After you've had a certain number of rejections of your stories, why even bother trying? I've seen people who they wrote one story, sent it out, got a rejection slip, never tried again. Okay? And if you follow the life writing process, you'll know that you have to repeat the process 100 times. Why? Because the average storyteller writes about 30 stories before they sell. I wanted to give myself and my students all the room they needed to fail again and 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 again until they succeed. This is the thing, and this is one of the only downsides with being really smart. It's possible that because you're operating within the artificial structure of a school, you can succeed at everything without even trying until you're out of school. But then once you get out of school and you're out in the real world, and sometimes your neuroplasticity has decreased, because neuroplasticity is at its peak, where between the ages, up to the age of about 10, that's when you can learn languages most rapidly. That's when you're basically just a rubber ball, emotionally and physically. Remember when you could jump on a skateboard and go down the hill and it's just whee, and if you fell off, it's like, oh, I got a little owie. Now you look at the top of that hill and say, hell no, I'm not gonna do that. That was where his process died. No faith. If you have no faith, it doesn't matter how much you plan and learn and this and that. Your self-image is smaller than who you have to be to succeed. Your ego thinks it is you. Your ego thinks your self-image is you. If your self-image is too small to accomplish your dreams, you get close to that and you'll start feeling fear. And this happens all the time. It doesn't matter whether the change is going to be something positive or something negative. It doesn't matter. It's still change. So you stop yourself. But we also feel guilt if we're not trying. We want mommy and daddy to be proud of us. So I tried, I just couldn't do it. You'll do that to yourself. You will try to succeed, but you won't do the thing that will actually cause the change. This is such a critical distinction, and so many people miss this, and so they miss their lives. What is his way out of that? It's the third step, autosuggestion. Boop. We'll get back to that. But generally, what's important to catch is that faith is the antidote for fear. It's also the antidote for depression, anger, and shame. If he's going to get out of this trap and be able to, the book wasn't even that important. It was just that he hadn't been able to do in months something that he could have done in 10 minutes if he'd had total internal permission to do it, because the book was available online, ebook, free. I mean, you have to, well, what you have to do is find your way out, and I'm suggesting 10 steps to help you do that. And that's what we have to work on today. So let me change this. Let me share my screen. All right. And what we have here is 10 things to do to increase our faith. And let me see. Where can I? All right. So the first step is think back. And I think that it's a good idea to journal. Find 10 times in your life that you learned new skills. 10 times when you went beyond what you thought you could do. Okay. Thinking about this and remembering how nervous you were before, asking yourself, how did you get yourself through it? Somehow you did. Get back in touch with that younger person. This is one of those places that the ancient child, that exercise of visualizing the child you were, there was a part of you that once upon a time believed that anything was possible, believed you could do or have or be anything. You might have to go to a very, very young version of yourself. It felt safe enough to dream. Or you could talk to the old version of yourself who has accomplished all of your goals and is on the other side of all the fears. How did you do it? What was that process to become familiar with the roller coaster, to see how it goes up and down and around and up and down and around, and it's nothing new and you've been this way before? Your own memories can be the most valuable thing to help you understand this is just a part of the pattern. 2, question your current self-image. Why do you believe what you believe about yourself? How did you develop your sense of who it is that you are? Investigating that, looking into it, and remember there are 2 core philosophical questions. These questions also relate to art, by the way. What is true? And who am I? Who am I? What is true? In writing, for instance, you've got character and you've got the world. The character is navigating the world, and the way they deal with the issues in the world is your plot. But in life, there is the human being that you are, and then there's the world that you see, and your attempt to move away from pain towards pleasure. And if you do that and fill your heart with joy, you will eventually seek to give service. How did you learn who you were? What would you say about that if you were developing your self-image now? What is the gap between the image of who you are and what you need to be in order to accomplish your goals? It is my belief that if you can hold a goal in your heart over time, some part of you has the capacity to bring that goal into existence. Harlan Ellison made the comment that success is to bring into existence, in adult terms, your childhood dreams. I believe that we have this ability. I think that I can't prove it, but I think it's one of the most useful beliefs that I've ever had. Question the voices in your head, the voices that tell you who you are. One of the most important understandings in all of meditation is that we are not the voices in our heads. We are the ones listening to the voices. You get the difference? You're not the voices in your head. You are the one listening to the voices. There is an entire lifetime of study that connects to this. But let's just say that in terms of what is useful here in developing faith, ask yourself whose voices they are. You will find out they will be teachers, mentors, parents, authority figures, lovers, friends, people who they could love you, but they didn't know you. If it's hard for us to know ourselves, it's almost impossible for people on the outside to know us. And that's if they loved us. What happens if they didn't? If they were afraid of us? If they thought that their power was dependent upon their ability to control us? Oh my God. Next, define your role in life. Who would you need to be to accomplish what you want to accomplish, to write that book, to have that career, to find a good, loving relationship partner, to lose that weight, to run that marathon? It can be very useful to deliberately name a part of yourself. For instance, I have a pyramid, or rather a triangle, that's up on my wall. I can see it right now. And I can see now that there's something missing from it, but generally, so my three identities are I'm super dad. So anytime I have to do something as a parent, if I'm tired, but it's something that is really positive, I remember who I am. There's an S on my chest, super dad. I'm a master of writing. I know that because my writing partner is considered a grandmaster of science fiction. So if I'm working with him, and he trusts me, I must be on that path. He says I am. And the third thing is, in terms of martial arts, I'm a grandmaster. I mean, I have the certificate. I've been anointed as that by the most advanced martial artist that has ever been my honor to know as a human being, who's known me for almost 50 years and has watched my growth. And I have the certificate and the rank and everything to prove it. Between grandmaster and master and super dad, I can handle most of my life challenges, but you might notice there's something missing. I mean, I don't have something there specifically about my role with Tananarive, and I'm going to have to deal with that because the integrity of my love for my wife is central to my life. So I could change that. That could be better. Define your role. The positive role model, sometimes I call it the golden man. I forget where I got it from, but it's just like perfect physically, perfect mentally, perfect emotionally. And when I was running track, my distance was 5 miles. I would imagine the golden man, a perfect version of me, running ahead of me. All I had to do was keep pace with him. And he always pushed me on to be stronger and better. But the part of me that kind of said, you can't do it, who had no faith, I call that part of me Mortimer. And sometimes Mortimer will talk to me. Mortimer will say, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Oh, come on. If you do that, yes. There are so many ways of dealing healthfully with those voices in your head. And we talk about them from time to time on this broadcast. But Google is your friend. Once you understand that you want to change your internal voices and your visual representations of yourself, start looking for ways of doing it. They exist. Okay, so I just said name your negative personality. So that's number 5. When Mortimer acts up and it's negative, and I can say to myself, oh, that's just Mortimer again. I'm taking a step back, just like imagining myself to be on the roller coaster rather than being on it, let alone thinking catastrophically, this isn't a roller coaster, this is really happening. That's the worst, because then you're reacting to small things in life as if it's a saber-toothed tiger about to jump out and bite you. And we all know people who do that. A rejection slip is not a declaration from God that you will never sell anything or that you don't have any skill. And that's how we think catastrophically. If you get that voice and you think to yourself, oh, that's Mortimer. You can step away from it. Okay. You get the power of having named that and then clustering all your negative thoughts right there. There's Mortimer again. There's Mortimer again. Think about the path that Mortimer is following. Think about the path that the golden man is running. Wow. If I'm the golden man, I get to be a, and I could choke up here because one of the things that is true about me is that anytime I think about my family, I get all up in my feelings. I just love my kids and my wife so much. If I can think that anything I'm doing makes me a better dad, because I didn't have a dad when I was growing up, and I just, we grow up to be the people we needed when we're younger. If I think if I can be that for my son, if I can be that for my daughter, I'm willing to walk through fire for my family. That's the path of the golden man. Mortimer over here will just kind of do the best he can and say, well, I tried. No, no, I will not try. I will succeed or I will die. It's as simple as that. I know what is more important than my own life. And since I have to die anyway, I might as well die doing this. I might as well die being myself, fighting for my family. My son, my daughter will know, and they do know, their dad would do anything that is ethical for them. My wife knows that I would do anything to keep this relationship and this relationship happy. You tell me that I've messed up and I need to go to therapy, I will say how many times a week you need me to go. I would not argue at all. It's, please, sweetheart, give me a chance. I'll make it right. Please give me a chance. I'll make it right. The golden man believes in himself enough to be willing to put aside childish things. I do love my kids. Okay, let's see what's next. Find the mentors. Number 6, find the mentors who could effortlessly inform your golden personality. If you want to be a writer, who are the writers that you're modeling? If you want to be healthier physically, who are the people who could get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and run, or eat the food that you need to eat, or gain the skills you need to get? It's like fake it till you make it. Pretend to be what you need to be until you are. Watch the karate student who struts into the school as if he's already a black belt and is willing to get his head handed to him over and over and over again, crawls out but comes back the next day. That person's going to be good. We all know this. We all know that guy. We all know that girl. They may cry because they're hurt, but they'll cry privately. In front of you, it's like, ugh, good shot. That person, you can't stop them. That's the person on an emotional level that you want to be. You're willing to take the hits because the thing you want to accomplish is bigger than your fear. Who are the mentors? I've got 2 magnificent men who represent my father energy. One of them is one of the great science fiction writers of the 20th century, Larry Niven, who I've written 15, 20 books with. 15, probably closer to 15. The other one is Steve Muhammad, my karate master. I love these 2 men so much. Steve, when I walked into his school, I was already a champion. Took second place in the National Korean Karate Championships in 1972. But the first time I saw him and his students, I realized, oh my God, they chew me up and spit me out. I can't do that. What the hell? And I went to him and I said, hello, Mr. Muhammad. Or it was Sanders at that time, Steve Sanders. I said, my name is Stephen Barnes and I would like to learn karate. And he said, well, we would like to teach you karate. And I said, I have to tell you the honest truth. I don't know how to fight. And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, that's all right. We do. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone who has the clarity that you lack, because then all you have to do is do what they do. You just apply the magic formula to whatever pattern that they say. And the pattern was show up here 3-4 times a week, do what I tell you to do, fight when I tell you to fight, run when I tell you to run. You'll get this. Thank God I have that psychological ability to empty my cup and say, teach me, Sifu. And my teachers have told me that that was the biggest advantage that I had. that I would simply do what they told me to do, where other people would argue with them. I would do it. And as a result, well, you can see what the result was. Ain't nothing special about me, but there's an awful lot that's special about the people that I chose to follow. Number 7, create your diamond hour. The first hour of the day should be your time for programming yourself with positive things. If you spent the first hour of the day doom scrolling and reading nonsense or reading negativity, you know perfectly well that that would sink into your marrow and start changing who you are. If you start protecting that first hour, you do your morning ritual, you do your exercising, you do your prayer, you read a sacred text or something positive. The first hour sets the pattern for the entire day. And this, again, is a lifetime study. Number 8, love yourself. Wherever you are in your life, whatever's going on, you have to love yourself. If you love a baby and that baby tries to walk and it falls down, it will look up at you and wonder how to feel about the fact that it fell down. And if mommy and daddy applaud, say, good baby, the baby will laugh. But if baby looks at you and you say, bad baby, stupid baby, you're never going to learn how to walk, the baby will cry. We all have a baby like that inside us. And our self-talk determines how we feel about having fallen down. How would you talk to a child that you loved? That is the way you have to talk to yourself. How do you know that you love yourself enough? When you would fight as hard for your body autonomy or your dreams as you would for a helpless child in your care. And let me tell you something. The person who wants to hurt you, the bully, the last thing in the world they want is for you to look at them and say, I'm ready to die and I'm ready to take you with me. Let's go. If you mean that, you don't even have to say it. You can smile at them and try to de-escalate as long as there's a part of you in the back of your head that says, you're ready. Let's do this. The bully will sense who you are. They will see no weakness in you, no fear, and they will back down. It's happened countless times. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that's number 8. Love yourself. And we have techniques that help with that. The internet is filled with them. So all I can say is find the technologies you need. Number 9, interrupt your negative patterns. And the 5-minute miracle breathing is the key to that we use. Every hour on the hour, at least 5 times a day, do 60 seconds of deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing. This is the core of the system. If you will do this single thing, we can build everything else on top of it. There are many other ways of interrupting your negative pattern, but imagine if for 5 times a day, you're breathing for 60 seconds, you smile, you sit up straight, you hold your head as if by a string from above, as a ballet teacher or Tai Chi teacher will tell you. You think about the positive things in your life, the people you love, your first kiss, whatever it is that make you feel happy. If you did that 5 times a day for 60 seconds, gave yourself 5 little vacations where you're just being happy deliberately, that person can interrupt the negative voices, the negative behaviors, the negative breathings. Mortimer is on this path. Your golden man, your golden woman is on the path of constantly feeling gratitude for life. And the last of these is create your morning ritual. Once you have your breathing, and that's the first step, get your breathing tied down. So if you're new here, for the next 2 weeks, simply make a promise that you set the alarm on your watch for, let's say, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Every time it goes off, you breathe for 60 seconds. Deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing. Look it up on YouTube. It's the kind of breathing you use if you're an opera singer, if you're Tai Chi practitioner. It's the way babies breathe, belly breathing. It breaks the stress chain. And we've talked about this before, but stress is not the problem. Strain is the problem. And if you breathe properly, your body believes it can handle the stress and will simply get stronger. Same thing is true with your mind. Those are 10 steps. And now, what I wanted to do was to stop sharing the screen, give people the opportunity to ask anything they want about what we are talking about. Hold my feet to the fire. Any of the principles of magic formula, the success principles from Think and Grow Rich, the 10 steps of developing faith, whatever you'd like to talk about. And if you have specific things that are going right in your life that you've been using these principles, fantastic, please share. If there's a problem you'd like to workshop, especially, if it involves writing, you're talking to two people who understand that world. Okay, and so we're perfect for that. And you can talk to Tananarive in chat, or she'll come right on here with me and talk to you. So raise your hands, as I often say, volunteer,
I am,
or you will be
if I can
voluntold.
interject, I know we have the hand raising thing, but way at the beginning of the session, our newcomer, Silman, said she had a question. And just to
Excellent.
welcome her to Firedance, I thought we should start with her.
I agree. All right.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for welcoming me here. This space has been amazing. I kind of, after I have said my question, I'm like, I think we addressed this in the workshop, but I'm still going to put it out there anyway.
Please do. Please do.
I have recently finished a manuscript, and I got some feedback from somebody in my writers group that suggested getting a copy edit on the manuscript. And I'm really like, I don't really agree with it, but I was wondering, how do you know if you should get a copy edit? Or before you submit to agents, before you start the process?
T, do you have a thought about that?
I do enjoy the idea of a copy editor. They can be expensive, but maybe not as expensive as you think if you try a website like Fiverr. I don't know. I think it's Fiverr. Basically, people with skills, Fiverr. That's how we got the guy who did the intro to our podcast and all kinds of odd tasks. I do think there can be value to a copy editor, especially if you're a new writer, because you only get one first impression. And I can tell you as a judge, sometimes I get galleys instead of complete manuscripts. And the disclaimer says, don't pay any attention to errors, but your mind is definitely paying attention to those errors. And you don't want anyone who's reading your first presentation to the world to be fixated on any of that stuff. It should just be flowing down. So even though it is a sacrifice,
Yeah, if you're going to approach an agent, what you want is for the agent to read your first page and think, I'm dealing with a pro. This is a
yes.
pro level writer, because all the agent cares about is, can I make money with this person? And so your answer needs to be yes. You're not only a serious writer, but you're prepared to operate at the professional level. You're going to bring it. You're going to bring, and this is one of the reasons why former newspaper people and people who worked in marketing are often more successful as writers than people who went through MFA programs. They're business-like. It's just a business. I'm going to produce a product and I'm going to market it. And the product is going to be the best thing I can do, which then hopefully will lead them into that sense of showing their heart and, and creating art. But they've got that commerce part of it. As a child, our artistic self can be like the child part of us. And the child dances in the living room, and mom and dad and aunt and uncle just applaud for them. Good baby, look at that, he can dance. And they overlook all the imperfections. But remember that you are now competing with every other child on the block that also had their mom and dad doing that. You've got to stand out. And the way you stand out is by putting more time and effort into perfecting your craft than those other people, because you want it more. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, this is not entirely true, but it's true enough that the world would be a great place if the people who wanted it most were the ones who got it. And there is enough truth to that that it is worth holding as a hypothesis. If the first step in Think and Grow Rich is desire, then yes, there are another 12 steps, but get your desire up high. Do you want this? Do you want it bad? Okay, are you modeling people who have done it? If you take a look at the books you admire, they've been through the copy editors, right? So you need to raise to that level. So one of the things you can do is you can invest money in doing that. The other thing you can do is right here in other writing groups, you find people who seem impeccable, someone who has an MFA or whatever, an English teacher, and
That's
who
true.
wants to
There are
write.
some unprofessional copy editors out there for sure who
That's
are
right.
great at reading, and you could just pay them an agreed upon amount. It doesn't have to be
Or
prohibitive.
or you can simply create an exchange with them. I will read your manuscript, you read mine, because an awful lot of copy editing is the fact that you know what it was you intended to say, and so you will read rapidly and not catch misspellings, not catch bad. In other words, there are other things you can do too. If it's copy editing for spelling, spell checkers work. As grammar, there are grammar checkers. But does it sound right? And this is where using Speechify or Voice Dream or one of these other programs that reads it aloud to you. If you read the manuscript at the same time it's being read to you, it's a different experience.
I do it
It's
every
a
night, every time I write. My goal every day is to write enough that it's worth my time to listen to it on Speechify, which can't be just a paragraph or two. I want to write like 3, 4, 5 pages. I want to sink into it. Does it flow with the rest of the work? Is it intriguing? So yeah, and just a quick anecdote. My first short story collection, Ghost Summer, was with a very small press that did not have a copy editor. And I didn't realize the importance of this until it was published, and it was riddled with errors. And I really do think it might have cost me some reviews. When I look at the difference between the way my most recent short story collection was reviewed and that one, I didn't get any major reviews. I mean, I really think it put some people off. So just bear that in mind. You, like Steve said, we're not about doing the bare minimum. I mean, the bare minimum might get you in the door, but we're trying to get the front of the line.
it's not only it started at the bottom, we made it to the top. This this cast is for people, and I remember God bless him, Steve Muhammad, love him and Larry, really do. When we're suffering in that school, we're sweating, bleeding, huffing and panting. Through the pain, he is saying to us, if you can learn this, you can learn anything. You can learn math. You can learn history. And he took street thugs and Crips and Bloods and turned them into doctors and lawyers. I mean, just magnificent. So what I'm teaching here is designed for people who have a disadvantage in life. This is for the people who did not have advantage. Okay? If you were born in a hole and you want not just to get out, but get to the mountaintop, this is what we're talking about here. So your work needs to be impeccable. That as a Black woman, there are advantages if you can get to a particular level, but getting to that level will be harder for you. See, it's a little bit like if you're running a Tough Mudder race up a hill and they strap a refrigerator to your back and the other people don't have refrigerators on their backs, and they laugh at you and say, why are you so slow? As they run past you. But here's the thing. If you can get to the top of the mountain, you're a bad bitch. You are scary, and they will be afraid of you, and they should be, because you're one of the few who managed to survive. And then you can do what it is that we're doing. See, Tananarive is the real thing. She is aligned to be successful. She is as sweet as ice cream, but make no mistake, she's a tigress. She's a lioness. She makes me wake up every day and realize I better represent. I better come correct, because this woman needs a lioness needs a lion. It's as simple as that. So you have to take the position that if you can win, there are 1,000 little girls who look like you, who will look at you and they will believe in themselves. You don't have the right to quit. You don't have the right to quit. Your ancestors and your descendants are both watching you. You are the hope and the dream of the slave. This is our time, sweetheart. This is our time. And it's your time. And when you get to move away from suffering, there is pain in life, but suffering is holding on to the pain beyond its useful point. There is joy, which is not simple pleasure. Joy is independent of what's happening. It's your ability to find a connection to the divine and to yourself, and you're having an authentic life. And it hurts sometimes, but would you rather be shot up with Novocaine and feel nothing? Or would you rather take life as it is? And if you can do that, then you can write stories that will inspire and change and educate and uplift. You are making a contribution. In other words, you can get to the point where the more service you give, the more money you make. Can I have an amen?
Amen. That is the truth.
Yes, Lord. Preach, preach.
All right. So thank you for being here. You're welcome. One thing that we like at realheroesjourney.com, the book on the magic formula is available. Get that book. If you cannot afford it, write to us. We'll get you a copy for free. It's just that important. We can do that because people play fair with us. They know that we're playing fair with them. So people, I don't believe anybody has had the money and decided, well, I'm just going to pretend I don't. If you don't have the money, we want you to have the information. It's critical. If you do have the money, it enables us to continue this mission by creating, abundance that we can then give to others, including time and energy. So realheroesjourney.com. Somebody put
It
that
really
in
is
the,
your masterwork product, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of a really coherent system for success.
Thank you. Thank you. My baby, my family is the most important thing in my world. The next most important thing is my writing. The next most important thing is my martial arts. And I will honor all three of them every day of my life until I stop breathing. This is who I am. What I want you to do is to find out who you are and to hold that space proudly. There has never been another one of you and never will be. And if you don't give your gifts to the world will suffer. As a friend of mine once said, when the alphas, the leaders of a tribe, do not stand up, the tribe suffers. Stand up, sweetheart. All right. This is good. This is fun, isn't it? Oh God, I crack myself up. I really do. All right, Mo.
Oh my
I
God.
just needed to have a little Mo today. So what's up, buddy?
Man, I want to thank you. I'm lowering my hand here. I want to thank you because
At least it wasn't a middle finger.
um, no, we're not even gonna go there. It's like when I played a movie in a
You wanted
redneck
to thank me.
bar and they say free bird and I say no charge.
So what's up?
With that, I wanted to thank you because, working in movies and stuff that I've done, and there's a thing called playing against type, and recently had to write against type with the bios that I'm doing for a specific client, which are erotic bios for phone operators. I'm not into this stuff, but it just earned me $100 in 2 days from writing.
Good.
And
Good.
I am thankful for that
Yes, you
that
should be.
you can write against type.
That's right. Make that, as Nikki Beaton said, make that money, sir. Get paid.
Oh
Get
yes, and
nothing works like money in the arenas in which money works. Simple as that. Okay.
mhm.
Okay. Go. Go.
And so like what you were said about Mortimer, and it reminded me about one of my favorite books, The Ragman's Son, the original publication, Kurt Douglas's biography. And he had a character called Izzy, because his real name is Isor Domanovich, and he was a Russian Jewish immigrants. And he was always looking at this character, Izzy, in his life that pulled him back until one day he told Izzy to go away. and he went forward in everything he did. And looking to where I am as a dad and realizing that, like first of the month, this is due, bills due, rent's due, everything's due. Hell, somewhere there's probably a baby due. But one thing I learned in Navy ROTC when we doing PT, and I didn't understand it, and I'm understanding it now in life, is embrace the suck. Life can friggin' suck. Embrace it. So what? It's going to suck it out of you anyway. Embrace it and do what you got to do with it.
That's
Uh,
right. You do what
and
you got. All you need to do that is to have things that you care about that are more important than your pain or embarrassment.
oh, yes. And stepping out of that has been very important. Firedance, the magic principles, and it's not one thing you're going to wake up and fool yourself and saying, I'm putting magic in place. I'm putting Napoleon Hill in place. It doesn't happen like that. You actually have to put the actual work into it. And even making that little bit of money that I've, made in the past couple of days, that took me hours to reach, and dealing, with a person who was telling me, hey, rewrite this and rewrite this. I did it and I got through it and I made
So
it.
let me ask you a question. First of all, fantastic. Fantastic people. So unmute yourselves and let's cheer Mo. Mo deserves some cheering.
Yay, Mo.
Good for
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay,
you
Mo.
go.
You are getting it done.
So, so Mo,
Congratulations.
what did you do to celebrate? You have to celebrate your victories.
Oh,
Paul, when you get a victory, at least start for like 5 minutes. Did you dance around the room? Did you cheer? You do your moves. Remember the moves back in college?
yes. Yeah. But
You know the
my
moves.
check engine light came on this year at 56. So the moves don't work away. But what I did to celebrate, I told CJ, he's depressed right now, and everything that's going on. I said, get up. He went to Big Daddy's Soul Food Kitchen and he got himself some fried pork chops, broccoli casserole, and candied yams. And I got me some
I'm
turkey
coming over.
wings and cornbread and bread.
I'll be right over. They got collard greens.
Yes, sir. They
Let me
have,
code switch right here.
dude. The next time you come to Atlanta, go to Big Daddy's Kitchen on Campbell
No,
Road.
no. Next time I come to Atlanta, we going to Big Daddy's
Okay,
Kitchen.
we going. And
We
they do
going.
the Cajun chicken wings too. It's kind of spicy. And you will get that itis later. Tannery.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
I got the itis, baby. I got
the itis. I think that's wonderful. I'm so happy and I'm so glad to see you laugh. See this moment, I want you to preserve this moment. As I've often said, I forgot the lines of my Christmas play in first grade. If I want to, I stood up there on the stage and everybody was laughing at me. It was just horrible. I could still feel those emotions anytime I want to. But the same thing is true about any positive emotions too. If you will mark out the positive emotions, it's like it's on your it's on your jukebox forever. And all you have to do is know the keys to push and that record will play again. So this moment right now where you're feeling happy and you're feeling successful and you did it, you take this and you store it in a precious place in your heart. And you just keep storing those wonderful moments. I tell my Tai Chi students this, my martial arts students, the moment when you did it right, save that moment. Save that moment. Mortimer will automatically save the bad moments. You don't have to worry about the bad moments.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn the lesson, you can release the negative emotion. If you still got the negative emotion, it's because some part of you does not believe that you learned the lesson. Okay? So what I want you to do is to remember how it feels. Remember how you were laughing. Remember that people cheered for you. Remember that that is who you are. And I know your commitment to your sons is absolute. You could be daddy of the year as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
You're my
thank you.
hero. You are
Thank you.
absolutely doing the work. You're pulling the plow. I want you
We
to
are
own.
Sparta!
That's right. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so if you were to give your golden man a name, maybe it's Leonidas. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but but I'm a history buff too. That Sparta had two kings. Leonidas was one. There was another king. Leonidas went out and did his thing with that. But even when you talked about Mortimer, we look at the Latin root, and it's the writer in you, mort, death. That whole thing about that will bring you to a point that will make you stop. And I'm
I love
like
smart
full
people.
speed ahead, man. Say again.
I said I love smart people.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's hey, it's what it is. It's hey, Morehouse grad, HBCU in the house.
That's
Um,
right.
it's part of it, but I love the family that I've been introduced to you, Steve. I missed DragonCon this year. It was off the chain, from what I heard, with the black cosplayers. But it's really everything that you're saying. And even what you said about your Christmas play, first grade, I had that same thing when we were the three of us doing the Three Wise Kings, and we could only do, we are kings from Orient far, bearing gifts, we travel afar. Yeah. I just couldn't remember it. And when you mentioned that, it made me laugh that it came back
Well,
from
that's
all
better than
these
what
some
I
odd
remember,
years
which
ago.
was what I remember is we three kings of Orient are
Yes.
tried to smoke a loaded cigar. It
Oh,
was loaded, it exploded. Boom. We two kings of Orient are. So it's
and
like that's
one
all
of
I
the
remember.
last things I wanted to say what that was very I just saw a reel of a judge of what's his name, Mathis, and who's going through a divorce right now. And he said he had three things in his life that he was keeping important, traveling every day, his court show, meeting his celebrities, but he forgot his wife.
Oh,
And he said, I'm not in a good place right now. I
yeah.
didn't put her in any of that. And I'm suffering because of
Look,
it.
anybody who
You
has
know,
ever met or observed Tananarive knows that she is special. She is a very special human being. And if I forget that for a moment, how blessed I am to have a woman like that in my life. If I forget that for a moment, I'm a fool. And if
mm,
I forget that for a day, I could disrupt my life. And I love my life. I love my family. We have to remember our blessings, Mo. The pain is automatic. But if we can remember our blessings and feel gratitude for them, that is the way to have faith. That gratitude for what we have had in the past and what we have now is what gives us faith in our future. So now you take what you have experienced and imagine what would happen if tonight, as you go to sleep, you think back over just the successes in your life with a little smile on your face, and you just let those dreams come together. And you asked the most trusted part of yourself, how did you have this victory? How did you succeed? What did you do? And you let it whisper to you as you sleep. Your conscious mind doesn't have to be a part of this. What matters is that you act in alignment with your soul, and your spirit will whisper to you. And your ego does not need to hear it because your ego can betray you, whereas your soul will always keep you on the right path. I'm proud of you, brother.
thank you, Steve. And as you said, we all got to go to sleep, but we got to remember we don't have to wake up. That's
Take care, buddy.
thank
All
you.
right. So let me see. Volunteer, or you will be voluntold. Anybody want to ask me a question about something? And feel free to challenge me in any way that you want about this stuff. If I can't stand up to the challenges, I don't deserve your trust. Avalon Jacka.
I
You're
see.
hiding your smile there. How you
Um,
doing, sweetheart?
Doing great. I just
Excellent.
always love joining these sessions. It's only my second, but I always find value whenever I come here.
You're
And
amazingly welcome. Just incredibly welcome. Just proud to have you here.
yeah,
So,
it's been just so lovely. And you
hmm.
and
Let me
Honoree,
ask you a question. Let me ask you a
yeah,
question, and this
go
is a
for
sincere
it.
question. What do you like the most about this?
I think it's really shifted my perspective on what is possible and what I can do. because I started by joining the creating unforgettable characters workshop, and then have joined
We'll have the replay videos for that. We're going to probably do the one missing video. We'll probably do that tomorrow, and
nice.
then we'll get it out to you guys. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been doing the sentence a day practice for the last
Works, doesn't it?
2 weeks. It's amazing. It really
Yeah.
is just, it has shown me how quickly I can get back into the story every day, it's been more than one sentence every day.
It keeps the spark alive. It's like you don't have to build a roaring fire every day, but you do have to keep the spark alive. If you do that, then you can add tinder to it and build it up into a fire anytime you want. And it's also a way of speaking to the little girl inside you, that your creative self, saying, well, we're busy right now, hun, but I'm going to take this time, just this little minute, to remind you that I love you. And you do that. And you can almost hear her say, I love you too, Mom. I understand. You got to make that money. You have to do these things, but don't forget me.
Yeah.
Don't ever forget me. And you're not. Just one sentence a day, and you can keep that going. The same thing is true in your physical. So you walk around the block. If you do that, you need have no guilt. In terms of communication with your sweetheart or with yourself, 5 minutes of breathing a day. If you know what the minimum is that you need to do in order to stay on the path, and you do that single sentence, and no more guilt, a fascinating thing happens. That sentence is your only work. You could be a professional writer, write all day long, but your only work was one sentence. The rest of it was play. The rest of it, you just got to have fun. So Mom does the homework, one sentence, and then you find out, does the little girl want to play? If she does, let her play as long as she can. It's the psychology, the reasons it works are really wonderful. I don't know where I learned it from, but I can tell you that I talked to every successful writer I could find. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And I no longer remember where I learned this or that from. All I know is that I really do honor Harlan Ellison and Robert Heinlein and Octavia Butler and Ursula K. Le Guin and other people who I had a chance to actually talk to, and say, how did you do this? How did you create this magic in your life? And I found them to be such kind and giving people. They just welcomed me onto the path. And I want you to have the kind of success where young writers will look at you and hope that you will be kind to them, and you will.
Absolutely. I think I've already seen how much community can be built and how inspiring that is with my writing process. And that's something that I think has been really missing for me in that writing process, is building that community. And so it's just been fantastic to have this area to be able to expand that. And
ask anything you want here, either here or in chat. Tananarive and I, we ain't perfect, but we try to be as honest as we can be, and we're actually working in the field. We're actually, so bring your concerns here, bring your passion here. If you support the other people on this call, they will support you. Okay? That's what this community is about. And welcome. I'm so glad to see you.
great to
Okay.
be with always.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So let's see. Who else? Raise your hands, volunteer, or you will be voluntold. Let's see. Who's James Jorsling?
This is a song that never ends. It will go on and on, my writing friends.
That's James Jorsling? Is James
Definitely, I did
Jorsling?
not say.
Okay, see, James Jorsling may not feel like speaking up. That's okay too. We understand. Crystal. Is Crystal there? People do have the right to stay private. Lurkers are welcome. Sandy.
This is my first meeting, and I don't have a specific question other than to say thank you for Alexander Adams invited me, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go and watch and listen and not say anything because I'm new to this. But it's been wonderful hearing.
I'm so glad.
Just listening to you has been amazing.
So let me ask you a question. As you can tell, I'm in love with my life. I actually love my life. Okay. And I want you to love yours. So if, do you feel like you're on the path to moving away from pain and toward pleasure as you understand it?
A little complicated right now. Just a lot of changes going on. I just retired from teaching, and that was
Oh,
something.
congratulations. The most sacred profession in the world.
And it adjusting is a little bit much. I was going to teach another year and then retire, but I had the things pulling me in different directions, so I felt I needed to retire this year early, and that's been kind of a
So
moment. So
the rest
yeah,
of your life belongs to you. What do you want to do with it?
it's well, writing is going to be a priority.
Good,
Um,
good, great. We can help you
Traveling,
with that.
yeah, family, just lots of things, and
Okay.
figuring
So
out where.
family, that's your heart, that's your relation, that's your heart. Writing, that's your mind. Okay. So we need you to also take care of yourself physically. Okay. To care for your physical engine that is carrying you forward so that you can really enjoy this next period. So if you have a goal to improve your physical health and aliveness, double your energy, to be more present with your family and to love them more and to love yourself more and just really embrace that, and then to write from the countless stories that you have to tell. Oh my God, you could write books and books and books. The life writing process has a 6-step process for writers. The first step is you write a sentence a day. The second step is that you write 1 to 4 short stories per month. The next step, huh?
As I said, oh, that would be so. I haven't written that much yet. 4 to 6 short stories in a month.
Yeah, no,
That's
no, no. Yeah, 1 to 4 short stories a month. And a
wonderful.
short
Okay.
story could be 1 page long. Doesn't have to be long at all.
Okay.
It's finishing a complete unit.
Mm-hmm.
The next step is that you polish and submit at least 1 per month. And once again,
Mm-hmm.
it could be only 1 page. The next step is you do not, once you have started submitting it, you do not rewrite except to editorial request. You don't endlessly rewrite something you've already done. You move on to the next story because it's the process that's important. You got a billion stories. Every night, every one of us goes quietly insane. All creativity is camping close to the banks of that stream of insanity, and then fishing, pulling strange fish out. The next step is that you read 10 stories for every story that you write. And we always encourage people to start with short stories. Don't start with novels. It's like you plan to run a marathon, first run around the block. Once running around the block has gotten boring, run around 2 blocks. And you slowly build your way up until you got 26 miles. And if you do that incrementally, it's just like teaching students who don't know how to read. You don't start with Moby Dick. You start with Fun with Dick and Jane or whatever we're reading at that point right now. Boy, I'm showing my age there. And the last step is you repeat this process 100 times. That you don't expect your first or second or third story to be the one that sells. The average writer writes about 30 stories before they start selling. I say 100 to triple that to give yourself plenty of room. But here's the trick. Our students, not one of our students has gotten past story 26 before they sold. Not one. So if you will do the work and you will come here, which is totally free, always totally free, and you will support the other people on this call, we will support you. Now, that said, if you would like additional
Right.
coaching, check out our Life Writing Premium program, lifewritingpremium.com. It's a monthly program every week for a year. It's a weekly program. Every week for a year, you will get prompts and instruction and lectures on it. You can check that out at www.lifewritingpremium.com. But we talk about this stuff. We do not hold back in terms of, you could ask us anything that's in that program. We'll give it to you for free. You know, this is who we are in this sense. The question is going to be, who are you? Are you somebody who's going to take all that life and invest it in yourself and decide to have the healthiest, most contributive, and possibly most profitable life? Because nobody gets rich teaching, but plenty of people have used the experience of teaching, developed something that was rooted in that teaching, and gotten rich with that. That works. Okay. Just show us who you are every week. Do the work. We'll get you there. Okay?
I mean, just a memory you triggered there was when I had a student who was just had been called to the office because he was about to graduate. It's continuation school. They graduate, all the time. And student comes back to the classroom and somebody else shouts across the room, "So, hey, what did the counselor say?" And he calls back, "She said your grandma's a hoe." And just so
That's kind of thing that used to get my butt. If you want to know why I've spent 50 years in the martial arts, it's because I did stuff like that when I was in junior high school.
down. And somebody said,
Your
"Are you writing?"
grandmother's a hoe.
Somebody said to me, "Are you writing a referral for him?" And I said, "No, I'm putting this in my next book." It's like, the reason 97 why I love this school, because I get so much material from it.
So
And I just,
look,
it never stopped until
so
I
keep a
did.
journal. Here's what you do. Keep a journal, and in that journal, write 1 or 2 sentence triggers, simplifications, synopses, very simple things of all these incidents that happen, so that you're not in this sense of, oh my God, there's so much, where do I start? If you can't think of where to start, choose one at random. And you write a short story about it, and it's 5 pages. A short story is about a moment when something happened that changed you, up or down. Read tons of short stories so that you can understand the pattern, okay? The basic pattern is somebody wants something stands in their way, and they take actions to try to deal with it. Okay, that's the most basic pattern. I think you're going to have a wonderful time. All you need is the faith. It's like, you see this thing right here, the 13 success principles behind me, starts with desire. Then you need faith that you can do it. If you don't need faith, you use auto-suggestion. This is from Think and Grow Rich, which is available. They're free PDFs, and there are free YouTube videos that narrate the whole thing or synopsize it. Then it is auto-suggestion, which is basically meditation and journaling and affirmations, so that your insides and outsides match, so that you believe that you can and should do the thing that you want to do. Because belief in it then takes you to step 4, which is specialized knowledge. You can get that specialized, we can handle all 4 of those here. We touch all of these, but the best thing to do is just use the magic formula. You have a map or model. I gave you the life writing map, that 6-step process. Take daily action, write at least 1 sentence a day. Feel gratitude that you have this fun, this thing that you can do, that you're going to have a great time doing, that you do for free, except that we want you to make money doing it. You have a clear goal. By this time next year, or your birthday next year, something like this, you're going to be published. If you had that as a goal, and you were writing 1 tiny little story every week and sending them out, you'd have a superb chance of reaching. Like I said, not one of our students has gotten past story 26. I don't think you're going to be the exception. How long is it going to take you to write 26 stories? You could do that in 26 weeks, or you could write a story every other week, so that's a year, or you could write a story a month, which would be 26 months. It's up to you. But you see, it's a numbers game. We stay out of luck. We go with statistics and probabilities. It's like, if you know that you have to knock on 100 doors to sell 1 vacuum cleaner, and you need to sell 2 vacuum cleaners, how many doors do you knock on? 200. That's right. It's not luck. Luck is which door opens, which person says yes. But the rest of it is just the odds. You're just playing the odds. Everything we're doing here, if luck is where preparation meets opportunity, then the magic formula is about improving your preparation and getting you more opportunities. Eventually, those two circles overlap, and then people will say, "Oh, you're so lucky." And you're the one who burned the midnight oil and got up early to feed the chickens or whatever it is. And ultimately, you'll have to just laugh and realize that's how people stop themselves. Yes, there is luck, but assuming you have an average amount of luck and learn how to play the odds, you can win. It's like poker. You're not playing against the house. You're playing against the other players. And the odds say you're going to get just as many good hands as anybody else. You got to know how to play it. So assuming that you don't, and like I said, everything I'm teaching here is specifically designed for disadvantaged people, specifically designed for people who had no luck, who had no advantages, who perhaps are a little bit more mature. They're not just starting their journey, or they are neuroatypical or members of oppressed groups or whatever. We got you covered. Whatever that is, my tribe are people who are carrying the refrigerators on their backs and want to get to the top of that hill and grin at the ones who didn't and said, "Guess what? I made it. You're in trouble." My attitude is, I wasn't supposed to survive. I wasn't supposed to get through this. I wasn't supposed to thrive and be happy and successful. I wasn't supposed to. The obstacles were supposed to kill me. And guess what? They didn't. Welcome, Sandy.
No, but thank you so much. I'll be back next week if I can be.
Absolutely. Show up when you can. Get your copy of the Magic Formula book. And if you can't afford it, get word to me. We'll get you a copy for free. Okay. But
Thank you
if
so
you can
much.
afford it, it's realheroesjourney.com. I'm really serious. That enables me to deepen my teaching much more rapidly. Okay. All
Thanks so
right.
much. Bye-bye.
You betcha. All right. So we're almost out of time now. I would love for everybody to, so in brief, do you see how without faith, the entire process breaks down? And that the people who have hurt you, what they wanted to do specifically was destroy your faith in yourself. And sometimes people who love you, who are afraid of losing you, afraid you're going to outperform them, afraid you're going to leave them, afraid that if you make it, it means that they could make it. Now they have to deal with their own crap. Whatever it is, you have to protect your heart. You have to be willing to fight for your dreams the way you would fight for a helpless child. Unmute yourselves and say goodbye, because I'm about to get to work. Unmute yourselves.
Bye. Good luck
Bye.
with your work.
Everyone,
Thank you so much.
It is so
Yeah,
good.
You're
Whoosh.
very welcome.
Again.
Love
Coming
you
again
guys.
or for the
And I'd
first
like to
day?
close this as I always do with the Sanskrit expression that says that the divinity within me salutes and acknowledges the divinity within each and every one of you. Namaste. Join our mailing list. Come back and see us again.
Namaste.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great week.
Ciao.